All right, welcome to CFI After Dark. I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow. Appreciate you guys, checking us out and watching. We do this every week around 11:45 p.m. And what CFI After Dark is we talk about all the action from Friday night. And what I always like to say is this is your show. So whatever you post and comment, that's what I talk about. So I always start out with the game that I was at tonight, and me and the producer went over to Myers Park, and it was an important game as Myers Park was hosting RGKL, and this was a really big game in the SOMAC conference in Charlotte. The winner of this game would be in a really strong position to compete for a conference championship. Right now, these two teams and South Mech are at the top of the standings. And it felt like this game was going to be a really good game. We talked about it on the show. I felt like both of these teams were kind of in the, same place as far as, our CMS best of last rankings that we do. Well, mine. I won't put that on the guys. And they had some similar strengths and, some similar things that they could work on. So Myers Park really jumped out early in this game, 19-0 in the first quarter. And, it kind of felt like, they were just in control. And the second quarter got a little choppy with some penalties and some delayed referee calls and decisions. And I think that really kind of upsetted the flow of the game. But Myers Park won the game 32-16. We left after three quarters when it was 26-0. And RGKL scored a couple late to make it a closer score at the end. But, Myers Park was really in control the vast majority of the night. Was really impressed with star receiver Brody Keefe. He's got several Division One offers. He had 2 touchdowns in this game and a really nice catch and run. I just posted the highlights up on social media. So if you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they should be up there now. And they're also on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check those out. And then I'll be posting pictures right when I'm done with this from the game as well. So shout out and congratulations to Myers Park. Very impressive. They've obviously got some things rolling over there, and they're in a really strong position to win the conference. And it's in their hands. If they beat South Mech, they'll be you can pretty much crown them conference champions, and that game is coming up. I'm sure on the schedule real soon. But for RGKL, I think they're still a playoff team. I think they'll be favored in most of their remaining games, and they should be in a good space to get into the state playoffs, and then kind of see where things go from there. So that's where we were tonight. I see your comments are coming in, so let's see what we got here. This is uncanny. It is uncanny. You are the first one every Friday. It is uncanny. I think your timer is set for CFI After Dark, and I can't blame you. I don't blame you. It's good to see you, Kim. Chat administrator back in action. Yep, another donut party from Mooresville, 45-0 over South Iredale. What can you say? I saw the young man that you tagged me had a couple interceptions in the first half. That's really impressive, which I'm sure keyed the shutout victory there. And then offensively, Mooresville continues to click on all cylinders. The countdown to that Lake Norman game is on for sure, especially with what they did tonight. And you shared it right here, the 30-6 win over Hickory Ridge. I mean, Hickory Ridge has been scoring on everybody. The defense has, had its challenges, but they've definitely scored. So that was interesting to see. Kudos to Lake Norman and Coach Oliphant and his staff for doing a great job, and they remain undefeated on the season. So, um, this is the time of year where you want to start, getting ready for the state playoffs. You want to start peaking and going in the right direction. And obviously, both Morrisville and Lake Norman are doing that now, and it's exciting to see. It's really exciting to see, and I'm glad. And when those schools are good in football, I think everyone else, it kind of benefits from it, and it's better, for the whole Charlotte metro area for sure. Trayvon Gaither, our resident community school of Davidson dedicated fan. They win big over Winston-Salem Prep 56-6. Wow. Brandon Albert, 25 carries for 265, 3 touchdowns, and a touchdown reception. Man, astounding young man. Invited him to the CFI Winter Showcase. I think he can turn some heads, that's for sure. Good stuff right there for Community School of Davidson as they continue to track toward a potential conference championship themselves. A.L. Brown over West Cabarrus, 49-34, putting up some points. Way to get it done. And I still got to shout out West Cabarrus because they continue to fight every week and they get better and they're competitive. And I tell you, I saw a team do this before, and the next season they came out and they won the conference. So, West Cabarrus is building and going in the right direction. But that's big for A.L. Brown. They had some tough losses to get over the hump and get a win. And now you want to get that thing going downhill. And hopefully, they can find a way to get into the state playoffs. How about Kings Mountain? Well, how about them? I mean, I don't know what else you want to add to that, Jeremiah. I know they won 28-14. Joe Hughes was there over South Point, and I know that game was tied 14-14 for a little while. Then Kings Mountain was able to get 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to put it away. That's probably about what I expected. I kind of expected Kings Mountain to have a little bit more of a margin throughout the game. I didn't expect to be tied in the fourth quarter, but good teams find a way to win. South Point's a good team. We saw what they did with Crest last week. I'm gonna tell you, if they find a way to get into the playoffs, nobody's gonna want to see that team in the first round. That's for sure. But Kings Mountain, kudos to them, and they continue on that track, that big showdown at Crest, coming up toward the end of the season. Karen Belt, Indy 54, Providence 21. I saw that was Providence's homecoming, and even in 2023, teams take that as a motivation, man. They really do, and you get scheduled for homecoming. All you want to do for the as being a road team is ruin it with a win. So Independence really got it going, man. I saw Justin Little had a nice touchdown pass to tight end Will Brown, who had a great catch in the end zone. Great video on that. I retweeted it. If you haven't seen it, he's a talented young man committed to North Carolina Central. And Independence, man, they're starting to roll. They're starting to roll. That offense is really clicking, obviously. And that's dangerous because the defense is well coached and they got some good talent on that side of football. And they're gearing up for that big season-ending game against Butler coming up in a couple weeks. So we're really trending towards some huge games toward the end of the season, and that's the greatest time, man. It's the greatest time. It's starting to get a little chill in the air. The leaves start falling down toward the end of October, and we're getting ready for some huge football games coming up, man. Let's see. Thank you, Marcus. I just talked about Kings Mountain. Appreciate that. Chat administrator says if Cox Mill beats Lake Norman next week, they'll be second in the Greater Metro 4. Hey, now Cox Mill had a bye this week, so I'm sure they went out there and they scouted Lake Norman, and you can't discount the advantage that a bye week has. And Lake Norman obviously played their best game, so it's a double-edged sword. You can be coming off the momentum with the Lake Norman win, or you can have the rest and extra week to prepare for Lake Norman. So that's going to be a big football game. That's going to be a big football game for sure. All right, Yasmin checking in. North Mech 34, West Mech 6. Yeah, I saw the fighting. I tweeted on Twitter that I think we need a just straightforward no tolerance policy with this fighting. I mean, I hate to say this, but if I think I think you got to start penalizing the home team if they're responsible. I mean, whatever side's responsible, man. If it happens on the away side, maybe we punish the away team. If it happens on the home side, you punish the home team. The people involved have got to get banned. Period. They can't come back to a game. Um, I mean, I hate for it to get to this point, but we have the in CMS we have all sales through the app, and maybe if we ban these people, they get on a list where they can't buy tickets, and if they try to come in with somebody, we got to have a way to recognize these people when they're banned from games. It can be done. It can definitely be done, but it's gonna have to take a full effort system wide to get the message across because this is crazy. There was an incident up in Statesville tonight where the game was stopped because there was a threat of gun violence. And I think I saw something else happening. So yeah, we gotta do something. And like I said before, it's people that's smarter than me that can figure this out, but something has to happen. Period. This is crazy. But congrats to North Mech. That's a big win on homecoming for sure. Coach Slingerland, North Stanley big over Lake Norman Charter 57-20. Jay Jackson 6 rushing touchdowns. Not sure the others. Good gracious, what a specially talented man. Jay is. And North Stanley with a big win to continue their march toward the playoffs. Thank you, Jonathan Mitchell. I was hoping someone would bring this one up. It's a big game. Huff versus West Charlotte didn't live up to the hype. The defense for Huff is so tough. Yeah, they really are. I think that final was 23-7. Huff with the victory over West Charlotte. West Charlotte's still in a good place as far as 3A goes. But obviously, winning the conference outright, they're going to have to get a little help down the line from teams that play Huff. But you know, defense for Huff, I feel like they have obviously James Nesto, which a lot of people should know is committed to Oklahoma coming off the edge, outside linebacker. They have the guys in the secondary that are so talented in Xavier McIntyre and Samari Matthews. They have Anthony Walker, who's a really, really good linebacker on the inside, committed to James Madison. But they have good guys on the front line too. They're a little younger and don't have the offers and notoriety, but they're tough at all three levels and they can really run. That's the thing that really makes them good. And they're well coached. The defense coordinator, Chachi Sullivan, I always tell him he's the best defensive coordinator in the area. He tells me not to put that on him, but I'll say it. I'll say it anyway. Um, and the thing about them is, they're proven, throughout the regular season, and when they get into playoffs, they've had some unfortunate things happen in terms of injury and things of that nature. So, hopefully, this will be the year that they can find a way to break through. But shout out to Huff for getting a big win over a really good West Charlotte football team. And right now in that conference, we've got some interesting things that we got to start breaking down. Next week, we're gonna jump into RPI in the standings for the first time this year because we got to start thinking about who's going to be where in the playoffs, and we'll analyze that, and we'll get deeper on the Wednesday Night Football Focus Weekly show for sure. All right, chair administrator. Yeah, I saw this one. What are you doing to have a game 106-83? This is football, guys. It's not preseason basketball or anything. That's a high score for high school basketball, much less football. That is insane. This is out on the coast. Can you imagine the highlights for this game? Your highlight video is going to be like, God almighty, 20, 25 minutes. If you're just doing the highlight plays, my goodness. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure the stats from this game will be insane. I'd love to see them. I don't know if Pender or Hopton are running teams or passing teams, but good gracious, I'd love to see some highlights on that. I'll keep in tune on the coastal guy who posted it. Armani Bird, our Clover guy, says Clover is the hottest team in South Carolina right now. All over Spring Valley, 48-0, back-to-back shutouts. That's 5 in a row. So definitely one of the hottest teams in South Carolina. I don't know if they're the hottest team, but great job, man. Great job. We'll have to look at the South Carolina rankings. I think I had them 4th this week. That South Carolina rankings that we do. So we'll have to look and see if they move up even more. But yeah, great job to Clover, man. Blue Eagles getting it done. It's Coach Weber. Yeah, I told him about homecoming. Yep. That's a great win, though. It's a great win. I mean, anytime you're facing a Division I quarterback in Jackson Debe at Providence, he was super talented. To hold them down, the way you guys did is really, really great, man. That's really great. Good stuff, man. Yeah, Butler Independence, that game definitely gonna be huge at the end of the season. Wow, Vontrez Birch. He's a receiver for Independence. 212 yards receiving. Wow. And 3 touchdowns. Good gracious. Wow. Impressive, man. He's a talented young man. I like his game. I think he got hurt earlier this season. He was out a couple games. But great job. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him for Pet Man players for sure. LaRonde Moore, Ashbrook 41, Stuart Kramer 6. They got 3 in a row. All right, Ashbrook. See, now they sometimes it just takes time to figure it out. Just like South Mac. They started out 0-4. They won 3 in a row. Now you see Ashbrook started out rough. They got 3 in a row now. And that's a big game with South Point next week. That's an absolute big game. The winner to that game may have an inside track to getting into the playoffs. And each win now for Ashbrook is really critical because of the hole they're in. So, shout out to Coach James and Coach Zeke, the defense coordinator out there. Great job. And hopefully they keep that thing rolling because they got a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent on that Ashbrook team. And once you get it figured out and rolling, hopefully it'll keep going, man. Good stuff. All right. So yeah, this was the other one I was thinking about. West Iredell 18, Statesville 13. So they rescheduled the game to 4:30 p.m. on Monday, and that was the gun threat, and they had to clear the stadium. And that game was in the third quarter. So that is a woof. If you have ever now, we have knock on wood, we have not had any weather issues this year that I can remember. But this is the first time ever we have not been worried about rain and thunderstorms on Fridays. But playing on Mondays is so weird, man. It's so weird. There's nobody there. There's no band. Sometimes you don't even have cheerleaders. It's a weird environment, man. And with high school kids, when you change their routine, you don't know what you're gonna get. So the coaching staffs are gonna have to do a really good job of getting those kids refocused and ready to go on a Monday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. My goodness, wow, man, that's tough, man. But these are the kind of things that we're gonna get when we keep having this stupid stuff with fighting and threats and all of this garbage, man. This is what we're going to get. And then people are not going to be mad because they can't watch the game. They can't get off work in time. They're going to be stuck in traffic. But when you have all this nonsense going on, this is what we got to do to play games. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. But 2 good teams right there. That's a big game. That is a big game for sure. Let's see. Kim Palisades over Olympic 32-14. Yep. I saw Josh Truesdale had a good game for Palisades in that one. I believe he's committed to Central as well, North Carolina Central. And I saw Devin Walker had a touchdown for Olympic. That's a big rivalry. If you don't know, the kids that are at Palisades, a relatively new school, came from Olympic. So that's kind of like the Hardingberry rivalry. The Battle of Allegheny is kind of similar to that. But a big win for Palisades. Both of these teams had been kind of struggling a little bit, and they both needed a win badly. And Palisades was able to get it done. And kind of like some of the other teams we mentioned, every win now for them is critical. They have playoff hopes, and they're going to be kind of in that wild card situation. And you just got to keep winning. You got to keep winning. When we look at RPIs and percentages and all this math stuff that I'm not good at, it'll kind of help paint the picture of where your team is, and we'll definitely do that on the show next week. I'm telling you, man, I think preseason basketball stuff's coming up. So, people that may not, be too keen on the calendar may think, oh, wow, preseason scrimmage or something. So, yes, absolutely, man. Tony, I don't do this for fun, James. All right, I like that name, Tony. J.M. Robinson still undefeated. Yeah, that's another one. This is another matchup that we're counting down to, man. It's so many. So many matchups we're counting down to, but them and Northwest Bears, that's going to be a great game. That game will be at J.M. Robinson. I think it's in 2 weeks now. I think that's what I saw when I was looking it up. But yeah, both of those teams, really talented, well coached on both sides. It's going to be really, really fun game to watch. Terrell, we talked about the North Mex situation earlier. But yeah, we talked about that, man. Tim Collins, Sun Valley, and Weddington next week. Right now, that is where I plan on going. Right now, but we'll see if we can come through. I tried to see Sun Valley 2 weeks ago. I had stuff come up, but that's a game I want to be at because we know Weddington's really good and Sun Valley's still undefeated. So, absolutely. Oh wow, no fans for the States football. Well, I'm telling you, that makes it even more. That even makes it more tough. Whew, good gracious, man. Yeah, Truesdale is a good kid. Absolutely. Yeah. Jason McCory is a part of the RGKL staff. We were talking earlier about this game. Richmond was only beating Union Pines by, what would he say, 2-0 or something like that. But yeah, every school will eventually go through a lull, man. Every school does. I don't care how good you are. At some point, you're not going to have all the talent and all the stars and all the everything that you've had in the past. It happens. It's high school football, man. Eventually it'll come back around. It'll come back around, man. They'll get a good group of kids and they'll build them up. I mean, it's Richmond County. You never can count them out, man. You can never count them out. All right, so we got the Max Preps ticker up here with the scores. So I'll go through the ones that we haven't talked about. Let's see, Mooresville, we talked about that. Providence Day, the number one team in the area, rolling along. And this is another matchup that we're looking forward to them playing Charlotte Christian, which is coming up. I think that might be next week. And then they've got Raven Gap down the line, too. Those are the two big games for them in the regular season. And then when the private school playoffs come, they'll probably face one of those two teams, if not both, again, depending on how the seedings and the matchups go. But they had a big win over Country Day, 49-13. We got Anson 28-14 over Piedmont. Mallard Creek beat Harding. I believe that was 55-0. As they continue to roll along in their schedule. Monroe big over Parkwood 55-7. Then we talked about Robinson, big over West Rowan, 59-7. Myersburg, we talked about that one. Forest Hills, big over West Stanley. Brady Hibbert with a big game in that one. 5 touchdowns, 4 passing, and 1 rushing over West Stanley, 56-7. Covenant Day lost to Asheville School 35-0. Cannon School breaking their 3-game losing streak 21-7 over Charlotte Latin. Cuthbertson, big win for them 24-21 over Marvin Ridge. That loss is going to hurt Marvin Ridge in terms of looking at playoffs. Let's see. Concord was big over South Rowan. I believe it was 39-3. Keon Phillips had 6 touchdowns in that game. I tagged him. I said I need to see the film. Awesome stuff. I see. Weddington won over Porter Ridge. That game was close for a while, but Weddington ended up winning. I believe it was 32-12 or something like that. Butler was big over Rocky River. I think that was 56-0. Metro Raven Gap, they're big over Metrolina, 57-22. Pine Lake big over Bishop McGinnis, 58-26. Gabe Boulevard had another big game rushing, and they had another receiver. I believe it was Gowers, his last name, had a big game as well. I had the stats from Coach Trotter after the game. Charlotte Catholic over Garinger, 51-0. We talk about Northwest Cabarrus. They're big over Carson, 37-0. Let's see here. Lincolnton over West Caldwell, 49-13. York continues to roll. They're 6-1 now, 39-20 over Catawba Ridge. Interesting score. South Point was able to beat Lancaster with 29-26. That is really interesting right there. I know Lancaster has some talent, and they have games where they can really become a problem. But South Point found a way to get the win. But that was interesting right there. Rock Hill over Fort Mill, 52-26. Bunker Hill, 28-6 over East Burke. Crest big over North Gaston, 36-0. Let's see. Maiden over Bandies, 14-10. Burns really big. Oh wow. Over Thomas Jefferson, 70-7. Mount Pleasant over Union Academy to 55-7. North Lincoln over St. Stephen's 50-0. North Stanley, we talked about that. East Lincoln finding a way big over Fred T. Ford 62-13. Hunter Huss continuing to roll. This is an overtime victory over Forest View 18-15. Freedom over South Caldwell 37-30. I want to see it. I think South Stanley won that game over Albemarle. I'll double check that, but that would be 4 wins for South Stanley. I really like what they're doing. Salisbury big over East Davidson, 57-6. East Gaston remaining undefeated, 43-14 over Bessemer City. And the Hickory Grove, that was a forfeit. So, and that was their homecoming. I thought that was kind of, anyway. Hickory Grove get the win right there. All right. Last comment of the show, Joe Hughes. Yeah, Hunter Huss North Gaston could be interesting. Absolutely. I had that on the list too because I hadn't been out to Gaston County yet. Hadn't been out to I don't think I've been to Cleveland County yet this year. So I want to find a way that we can get out west. So that one's on the short list as well. So we'll figure out where we're going next week. But I appreciate all you guys being a part of the show as always. The highlights from Myers Park RV Keller up. Pictures will be up here shortly on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll post them on Twitter too. So, anyways, you guys have a great weekend. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you on Wednesday night for a fun and jam-packed, once again, Football Focus Weekly. Good night, everybody.